Beyond the Gate spoilers Monday, October 13th. Danny's suspicious, Leslie's warning, Donald's offer in recent days. The tension between the main characters in Beyond the Gates has continued to be pushed to a new level. Joey's invitation to Donnell McBride has made not only Donnell but also Vanessa's family rethink what is going on in the dark. Although no one can deny that Donnell and Joey have a troubled and bloody past. This time, things may be different. But is this invitation really an opportunity? Or is it just a trap that Joey is setting to push Donnell into a power game that he completely controls? Donnell is not a person who is easily fooled. No one knows what caused Joey to change his attitude so quickly. The man who was once considered a symbol of power and control suddenly offered Donnell, the son of Vanessa and the mysteriously dead man, Doug McBride, to work for him. The invitation rang out like a cold dagger, with so many hidden meanings that no one dared to guess what was real and what was a trap. For Donnell, the name Joey represented not only opportunity, but also a dark shadow from the past. He was the man who had hovered around his mother, who had brought the McBride family to the brink of collapse with false charm and shady deals. Joey's invitation now felt like he was testing Donnell's loyalty, or rather, measuring the extent of his hatred for him. Donnell didn't want to work for Joey. He knew that anyone who stood near him for too long was caught in a vortex of lies, where the line between loyalty and betrayal dissolved in a single breath. But at the same time, deep in his heart, Donnell sensed a rare opportunity, a chance to stay, to dig deeper into the mysteries surrounding the death of his father, Doug McBride. The truth had never been revealed, and Donnell knew Joey held a vital piece of the puzzle. He accepted, not out of trust, but out of a desire for revenge. Every step he took toward Joey, every smile, every look of submission, was carefully calculated. Donnell was playing a dangerous game, one he knew he could not afford to let slip. He had to feign trust, pretend he was looking for support, while in reality he was slowly digging into Joey's world, looking for cracks in the facade of the man who had taken everything from his family. But the game soon became uncontrollable. Joey wasn't stupid. He sensed the hidden agenda in Donnell's every move, but chose to remain silent. Maybe he wanted to see how far he would go, or worse, he wanted to use Donnell for another plan, one even darker than Doug's death. In this game, no one was truly innocent. Vanessa, upon hearing the invitation, felt a pang in her heart. She couldn't understand why Joey would approach her son, nor could she accept that Donnell would agree to step into the same world that had cost Doug his life. She still remembered Doug's last look before the accident, a look of exhaustion mixed with despair, as if he knew something he couldn't say. And now, Donnell was retracing his steps, going in the same direction, only with resentment as his guiding light. Vanessa's concern quickly turned to anger. She saw in Donnell the image of Doug, the man who had been helpless against the storm that was Joey. Joey was not just a verbal seducer, but a master manipulator. He made people believe they controlled the game, when in reality they were pawns being led by the nose. Vanessa knew that, but she also knew that Donnell was too proud to listen to the warning. As Donnell begins his work, the three men's relationship is stretched to the breaking point. Joey assigns him seemingly innocent tasks, but each one leads him deeper into a web of shady dealings, where the line between legal and criminal is an illusion. Donnell sometimes wonders who he's serving, the cause or the vengeance. He feels increasingly out of control, as if Joey's darkness is creeping into every corner of his mind. But then, one night, Donnell discovers a fact. An old memo hidden in Joey's file, signed by Doug. In it, Doug had tried to stop a deal Joey made involving hospital funds, a deal that later turned into a scandal that cost many people everything. Doug probably knew the truth, and his death was no accident. From that moment, Donnell knew he couldn't stop. Vanessa, meanwhile, is caught in a whirlwind between reason and emotion. Part of her is still drawn to Joey, mesmerized by his cool, powerful exterior. But another part is scared, because she can clearly see her son following the same path Doug once did. The control Joey exerts isn't just about power or work. It's a kind of possessiveness, quiet but cruel. Vanessa begins to doubt herself. Is she truly free of Joey, or is she still his puppet? As Donnell tries to dig deeper to find evidence, Joey suddenly changes his attitude. He appears friendly, caring like a brother, a teacher. But it is that caring that makes Donnell more wary than ever. He knows Joey is testing him, waiting for a small opening to take him down. The two of them, each hiding a secret, each look a knife in the end. Donnell understands that to find the truth, he must sacrifice more than his own safety, maybe his own soul. Joey, whether an enemy or a temporary ally, has drawn him into a game from which neither can retreat. And Vanessa, between the two men who once held her life in their hands, can only watch as everything she holds dear slowly slips away. The door closes behind them, like a silent on a game that has yet to be finished. In the shadowy room, Joey and Donnell both know neither of them has truly won. There are only lies, loss, and an unearthed truth, waiting to destroy it all as all these secrets begin to be revealed. The protagonists of Beyond the Gates will be faced with irreversible decisions. Difficult situations will lead them into tragic situations where betrayal, greed, and the struggle between love and reason will push them down a path of no return. Donnell, Vanessa, and Joey will face choices that none of them can avoid, and the end result can only be one thing: the collapse of once solid relationships and the revelation of conspiracies that outsiders cannot imagine. While Donnell struggled to find the truth, his mother Vanessa was still in love. The friendship between Vanessa McBride and Nicole Richardson was the only thing that held color in their world of darkness. Together, the two women had overcome loss, witnessed broken secrets, and suffered the consequences of the men they loved. But then, like all relationships weighed down by nameless lies, cracks began to appear, small and silent like a crack in a mirror, just waiting for a strong enough pressure to shatter. And that pressure was Joey Armstrong. Joey, the man who had once shaken the city with charm and power, not only ran a lavish casino, but also controlled the weak souls as if they were mere pawns in his game. Vanessa knew who he was, but that was why she could not resist. In her eyes, Joey was a symbol of strength, the cruel attraction that wounded people often seek to fill their void. He made them feel protected, cared for, alive again, even if it was just an illusion. Nicole saw it sooner than anyone else. She had sat for hours in the small kitchen, listening to Vanessa talk about Joey with a mixture of fascination and fear. Nicole recognized in her friend's eyes something she could not accept: the confusion between love and power, between desire and dependence. She knew Joey did not truly love anyone. He loved being in control, loved the way others disintegrated before him. But all the warnings only made Vanessa retreat further. When Vanessa officially entered a relationship with Joey, Nicole felt like she had lost her best friend. She no longer recognized Vanessa, the once strong, proud woman, now caught in the orbit of a dangerous man. Joey cleverly planted the idea in Vanessa's mind that Nicole was jealous, that she couldn't bear the thought of Vanessa finally finding happiness. That's where the fire of suspicion began. Everything changed one evening at Joey's club. Nicole went there not out of curiosity, but because she wanted to see for herself what had Vanessa so enamored with. And in the dim light of the casino, amid the music and hollow laughter, she caught Joey whispering something to another woman, one of his employees, young, beautiful, and obedient. When Joey turned around, he caught Nicole's eye. It made him smile, not out of embarrassment, but out of amusement. Nicole knew Joey knew she would tell Vanessa. He wanted it. He wanted to sow more doubt between the two friends, to make Vanessa isolate herself from anyone who could pull her out of control. And he succeeded. When Nicole tried to warn Vanessa, she was met with coldness. Vanessa believes that Nicole is interfering in her personal life, that she can't bear the thought of Vanessa finding someone who makes her happy after all those years of loss. But deep down, Vanessa still had a small corner of reason struggling. She couldn't deny that Nicole had always been right. The gentler Joey was, the more scared she was, because behind that look was a calculation too smooth. There were nights when she lay still, listening to Joey's footsteps walking around the house, feeling as if he was measuring her every breath. Nicole, meanwhile, refused to let go. She began to learn about Joey's business dealings, about the rumors surrounding the death of Doug McBride, Vanessa's ex-husband. The more she learned, the more she saw strange connections between Joey and the McBride family's past. Nothing seemed to be a coincidence. The investments, the meetings, even Joey's coincidental appearance in Vanessa's life. It all seemed to have been arranged. Nicole knew she was going too far, but she couldn't stop. Vanessa, meanwhile, began to feel betrayed. Joey had convinced her that Nicole not only disapproved of their relationship, but was secretly following her, trying to sabotage it. When Joey placed a file in her hands, photos of Nicole meeting with people in the press, Vanessa felt her world collapse. She believed her best friend had crossed the line. The relationship between the two women, once as close as sisters, had now disintegrated in silence. No apologies, no chance of reconciliation. Just a cold, heavy residue of a once bright friendship. But what Vanessa didn't know was that those photos, the evidence of betrayal, were all planted by Joey. He understood that in order to have Vanessa, he had to strip her of everything that had made her strong. Starting with Nicole, estranged from Vanessa, continued to search for the truth. She felt like she wasn't just trying to save a friend, but also fighting a dark force that was spreading beyond her understanding. She realized Joey wanted more than Vanessa. He wanted the McBride legacy, reputation, and remaining connections. As the final pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, Nicole knew their friendship might never be the same again. But she had a choice: stay silent to preserve the fragile trust, or continue to expose Joey, even if it meant destroying the only relationship that mattered in her life. Vanessa, meanwhile, had fallen completely into Joey's hands. She trusted him, loved him, feared him, three emotions that merged into an invisible chain. In her brief moments of lucidity, she remembered Nicole, the disappointed but determined look in her friend's eyes that day. And sometimes, just sometimes, she wondered if she was lost beyond return. The friendship didn't die in a moment. It died slowly, bit by bit, through carefully planted lies, through silences that no one would break. And somewhere in the darkness, Joey smiles, because he knows. When two women who were once friends turn into enemies, he wins, at least until the truth is brought to light. The friendship between Vanessa and Nicole, once unbreakable, is now on the verge of collapse. This conflict may not only damage their friendship but also create cracks in other relationships, as neither can see the truth behind Vanessa and Joey's relationship. Can they mend their friendship? Or will this argument be the turning point that leads to a permanent split between the two women? Elsewhere, Shanice Johnson, who is known for her gossipy nature at the hospital, will receive two pieces of information that will make her nervous. One of them may be about Derek Baldwin's condition and the dangers that threaten him, but can she keep quiet or will it explode? With her personality, it is difficult for Shanice to keep this hot news a secret, especially when it involves influential figures like Derek and the complicated relationships in the hospital. However, the information she collects does not stop there. She also notices shady conversations between Vanessa and Joey, along with ambiguous details related to Doug that everyone is trying to hide. That is why it is difficult for Shanice not to share what she hears. So, will Shanice use this information as a tool to gain everyone's attention and continue to spread it like wildfire? Or will she decide to stay silent to protect herself and her current relationships? Shanice, with her insatiable curiosity, can easily let these rumors spread, causing turmoil not only in the hospital but also in the families of those involved. But that is also what puts Shanice in a dangerous situation. Can she control the information she just learned, or will her stories eventually cost her not only her confidence but also her job? Going back to last week, when Vanessa and Donnell each went to Ted to ask about Doug, this could be a sign that Shanice has started to pick up on important clues. She may have overheard a conversation or witnessed an unsavory scene, such as Vanessa being intimate with Joey, which only made Shanice more curious and more likely to fabricate more dramatic stories. However, when this information is not clearly verified and Shanice cannot control her curious nature, the consequences not only affect the relationships at the hospital, but may also be a factor leading to her downfall in the work environment. Will Shanice's curiosity and tendency to smear lead her to a tragic end, when her thoughtless actions can cost her everything, not only her job but also the trust of those around her? Shanice's story will not only be about innocent rumors but also a psychological struggle as she faces the consequences of the choices she has made in the upcoming developments of Beyond the Gates. The information about October 13th will put Danny Dupree in a troubling and unexpected situation. It is hinted that Naomi Hawthorne, her daughter, may be pregnant, although Naomi has not shown this clearly. But for a sensitive mother like Danny, the slightest signs from her daughter will not be able to pass her by. Danny has always been a strong, resilient mother who always puts her family first. But this time, the story is different. This situation is not simply about suspicion about a baby, but also touches on deeper issues in her heart. How will Danny react when she realizes that she may become a grandmother? This question is not only about accepting the change in the family, but also about how she sees her role in her relationship with Naomi. The relationship between mother and daughter in the Dupree family has always been complicated, and the suspicion of a child will likely only further strain the rifts that already exist between them. Danny may feel anxious about her daughter's future, whether Naomi is ready for such a huge responsibility, and whether she can be as good a mother as Danny once was. But the biggest question remains: can Danny accept this new role in her life, or will there be a conflict between her love for her daughter and the control she still tries to maintain? Danny, with her fiercely protective nature, will likely be constantly thinking about all the possibilities. Is Naomi really ready for motherhood, or is she hiding something behind her calm exterior? This suspicion will likely send Danny into an internal struggle, where she will have to deal with complex emotions such as fear, stress, and even anxiety about the future of the Dupree family. The biggest question Danny will face is not only whether Naomi is pregnant, but also how she will deal with her new role. Will Danny support her daughter, or will she step back and let Naomi decide her own fate, leading to a conflict between the two generations? This will not only change their relationship, but also create a conflict between the hopes, fears, and protectiveness Danny has always had for her family.